Hi everyone, my name is Jesse Quinalty. I'm a captain in Southern California and I own Red Helmet Training. Welcome to this session. We're going to actually talk about a couple different things as far as the Rescue Me strategies and tactics for employee fires that we'll be presenting this year. And this program we've been working on for quite some time, teaching employee counseling through management classes and through leadership courses. We've been doing a lot of it through our coach program, our company officer assessment center help program. We obviously focus a day on employee counseling, but for this one we actually kind of wanted to take the employee counseling problem that we may have and figure out a way to actually break it down to firefighter terminology, because we understand that as company officers and chief officers, we're going to probably be fighting more fires in the fire station than we're ever going to be fighting out there in the field. So for us to actually kind of learn a command system for employee fires is important. We teach a lot of command for the real fire problem, but those fire station fires that we actually have occurring on a daily basis, we don't get a lot of training, or at least not as much as we should, for company officers and chief officers. So in this training program we actually use basic fire terminology such as RECIO. We actually have a size up program that we actually do to size up your building or your employee that's on fire. And we also kind of talk about the fire tetrahedron. What pieces of the puzzle actually start a fire, what actually comes in, whether it's the heat, friction, different types of just nuclear employees that go off, but where's the heat coming from? The oxygen, basically the talk, right? The oxygen that goes out there and actually helps spread the fire. And then we're going to look at a couple different things as far as how those things combine between the heat, the oxygen, and then the fuel. The fuel is literally where do you get that heat and that oxygen to combine with that fuel. The fuel could be SOPs or expectations, but that's where the fuel starts, where the heat. If there was no expectations, you'd probably never have any fires. So we actually look at the fire tetrahedron. We look at building construction. We look at, you have certain people in your organization that are pre-33 construction. They hardly ever have any fires, but they're unreinforced masonry. So if you do have a large fire, there's a lot of potential for building collapse, and we want to teach you how to recognize that. You have your new lightweight construction where you have a small fire and it just turns into a big conflagration fire, or maybe even just something where it collapses as well. So we look at building construction. We talk about how to size up the fire. Is it light smoke? Is it heavy smoke? Do you see fire? Sometimes it may even be a false alarm, but we actually have to know how, when do we step in? When do we investigate what's going on? And I always call it the I crowd. Do we investigate? We assume command, meaning we're going to assume command of this fire, and we're going to do an employee counseling session. It could be a rescue, where again this employee is actually having a major problem and we need to rescue them from themselves. And it may even be just me, firefighter to firefighter. At that point I'm not assuming command, I'm doing a rescue. Attacking the fire. These are small fires that I can probably put out with just myself. If I'm assuming command, and at that point you're talking about 2 in 2 out, which is your union reps or whatever the case may be, and a lot of times I'll be passing command to a chief officer on those larger fires. But in the attack mode, it's a small fire. I'm going to attack that fire just myself as a company officer. And then protect exposures. The last one, protecting exposures. This person is going to burn themselves down no matter what. I can't put this fire out. All I can do is protect the people around them and try to keep the fire confined. So we actually walk through the size up process, and then we actually go right into RECIO. Again, rescuing the employee from themselves. That's the big thing. You want to encourage self-rescue. Who are the exposures? So who are the people around that this fire could be spreading to, or could be damaged or injured from this major fire that's going on, or a fire that's going on? And then from there we go to confinement. I want to try to keep this fire confined to the smallest area I can, whether it's the station or the shift that it occurred on, or even the battalion. Sometimes fires are pretty big by the time you get on scene, but the major goal is we want to confine it to the smallest area we can. And then extinguish the fire. That's actually putting the fire out with the employee. And this is through SOPs, expectations, career guidance, counseling, coaching, whatever the case may be. But the big thing about it is with that extinguishment, we don't want to have any rekindles. We want to make sure that we actually put the fire out so that this problem doesn't occur again. And then we're going to overhaul the employee. We're actually going to look at how do we pull away those walls? How do we actually figure out what started this fire? So we actually start overhaul. and salvage the employee at that point. We want to make them a productive employee, right? So we're going to work on some salvage techniques. And then the other one that goes along with that, hand in hand, we always talk about in the RESCUE acronym, is ventilation, right? Your employees have to be able to ventilate, but the two things we actually discuss in this program is vertical ventilation. As much as possible, those hot gases that your fires are spewing out there, you want them to go vertical. You want them to go up. Gripes go up the chain of command, right? We want to try to keep that lateral spread from happening. And then we're also going to talk about positive pressure ventilation. As a company officer or a chief officer, any type of ventilation that I'm going to be doing should be positive as much as possible, because that's going to help with the confining of the fire as well. So that's kind of the gist of the program. We wrap it up with after action reviews. We'll do a couple of case studies, and then we'll do a couple of fire simulations and put you in the hot seat, if you will, just like we do on fire simulation day for an academy or something like that for captains. We're going to put you in the hot seat, discuss a couple different opportunities that you can do. And then last but not least, we're going to talk about the Ric Team. These are employees that need specialized people to come in and save them. And that could be your employee counseling, EAP programs, employee assistance programs. It could be the chaplain, but the specialized people that are coming in to save those people. And now you're talking about an incident within an incident. And this may have just spurred because they were 15 minutes late for shift and you had a small conversation with them, and then you find out that they have a major drinking problem or a gambling problem, and now it becomes a RIC activation. So a lot of cool concepts that we're going to be covering, and hopefully you'll be able to attend this course and get some more ideas. We're really looking forward to it, and we'll see you out there in the classroom soon. Thank you very much.